Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. This episode of Geek Tank Radio is brought to you by the new Broadway hit smash, Baby Skeletor the Musical. You're getting a lot of really useful backstory on this one, you guys, and there's some pretty catchy numbers. He-Man in the toddler battle is pretty good. So,
I mean, I can get behind that. I mean, it's totally out of canon because, well, Skeletor's his uncle, so they wouldn't have been toddlers at the same time.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really know much about this.
Maybe you should check before you start writing plays, Joe. But
Okay.
hey, the tickets are selling, so I don't care.
Are you on, Mike? Can you hear me? Okay. Anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth, and our buddy Allie Diggs, and our pal Max over there behind the glass, and a special guest, Jeremy Veldman,
That's
head
mean.
of the what?
Calling Jeremy special.
Okay, don't throw me off. I'm already having enough trouble concentrating. We got a full studio today. Jeremy Veldman, president of the Memphis Astronomical Society, and boy, talk about timely, Jeremy, because tomorrow is a pretty big solar. It's a pretty big event, a solar eclipse, right?
This is one we've been waiting for years. Let's just hope the skies cooperate, but we're looking good.
And Jeremy has got the inside track on everything. So, because we hope you're going to partake. Well, you're going to partake whether you like it or not here in the Mid-South. I mean, but with a little bit of extra effort, you can see the full eclipse, which is what we're interested in finding out about. We're also interested in finding out more about the Memphis Astronomical Society, because you just gave us some good news off the air about your new schedule, which I'm happy about. So we're gonna lean a little heavy on that today. But you guys, you all just watched a trailer that I encountered, and we keep saying we're tired of cookie cutter. We're tired of formulaic entertainment. We want something new. So you guys just watch the title. It's literally called Hundreds of Beavers. What is this that we just saw? Because I still don't really know.
This could easily have been like a leftover script from something HR Puffin stuff did. But I'm totally down to go see this as a group.
It's black. It's in black and white. I don't know. Jeremy, you're not as into this stuff as we are. What did you just...
This looks interesting. I wasn't sure if I was watching something modern or something from a 1930s silent film, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's
a preview of Monday's kerfluffle during the totality, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like a bunch of hundreds of people. Well, it's not hundreds of people. It looks to me like they had enough of a budget for one guy in a beaver suit, like a bad one, like a mascot, like for a college team, and then they just duplicated it with CGI.
Well, I don't know. There was also two bunnies, and it was obvious that it was two bunnies standing there and not, like one digitized on top of the other.
Oh, they had live action bunnies or something. No.
These were still people in bunny suits.
But it looks like a Looney Tunes something.
It really does. It's...
I'm going to see it for sure. It's getting great reviews. Yeah. Allie, what do you think?
I think it looks good. I can't wait to watch it. I for one, I think everyone, if you see a movie that looks a little weird, I say just go see it so that more little weird movies can get made.
That's my new standard. How much? It could not have cost much to make this movie.
Like $1.75 for that beaver suit.
And
I mean,
yeah, these are the kind of movies.
They bought it from a furry's garage sale. I mean, somebody changed their persona, and it's like, I got to get rid of this beaver.
Oh yeah, this will be good for the furries and everything. So, well, we've wanted new content. We would love to know what you think out there if you've watched this trailer. I think it's out on streaming now. I don't know. I didn't do enough research.
I don't know. I'll check something out on our commercial break, and then we'll leave and go see it, and Jeremy can talk about the eclipse.
Okay. Well, let's throw it over to Jeremy. So, Jeremy, you are the president of the Memphis Astronomical Society. Let's get the good news out of the way first, because you meet once a month and you change your meeting time. So what is that?
Right, I'm happy to hear it's good news. We are switching to Monday night meetings starting May 6th. We polled the membership and the board voted. It is slightly controversial, but given the feedback I've gotten from you guys, sounds like we made the right move.
What do you mean controversial? So you used to meet on Friday nights at like 8 o'clock, which I could never do.
Right.
And now, yeah.
Last night was our last Friday night meeting. And now we're switching to Monday nights. And Fridays, people have things going. And we've gotten a lot of outreach requests on Friday nights. So that's partly the motivation for the switch.
Okay, and it's going to be at Rhodes College, and I got it right here, Robertson Hall, room 110.
Correct.
So, all right, what can people expect? Because, this is, I think, there's a lot of, I would call them hidden gems. If you're at all interested in astronomy, man, the Memphis Astronomical Society, you guys are very active. People need to know more about your work, so.
Right, and we're getting our membership is increasing. We announced 15 new members last night, so we're getting we're getting some movement here, and we got some really interesting members now, including professors who teach astrophysics and astronomy. So the discussions are getting pretty intriguing.
Yeah, and you've had actual people that worked in NASA. You've had people that were part of the Apollo missions and things like that.
Right. One of our members, Bill Webner, he was former NASA flight controller during the Apollo era from 1968 to 1970. One of my good buddies. Clear skies for him on Monday as well. First eclipse he'll be seeing.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The guy's like in his 80s, or he's never seen an eclipse.
He's never seen a solar eclipse.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get So it definitely behooves you, and also the other thing, you guys are also you do viewing parties, right? Like, and those are fun when you get. I've seen you at Shelby Farm set up with all the telescopes, or
right
out in Collierville.
Yeah, we do dark sky observing sessions, once a month if it's clear, or a couple times a month if it's clear, and then we also do stuff in town. We've done events at Hinton Park, not only observing but telescope mentoring. So if you own a telescope and you need some help, Hinton Park in Collierville, we try to get there once a month so you can get some hands-on assistance, and then we do events at Bobby Lanier Farm Park as well.
There's nothing like looking through a telescope and watching. You're looking at Saturn or Jupiter or something, and just contemplating, and it's interesting when you see it, you watch that it's slowly drifting across the glass, and it always makes me think about these flat earth guys, like how they explain. I don't know.
They got an explanation for everything. Just don't even go there. But Allan's been to our dark sky, our star party at Village Creek. It's a couple years ago. We got that coming up on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
You're going to compete against, okay. Well, actually, maybe it makes sense doing that. So, but, okay, I got a perfect plan. Go to BeyondCon in the morning and then go to the observing at night, right?
That sounds like a great May 4th.
Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to, today we're going to be talking about the eclipse coming up tomorrow here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Allan Gilbraith doesn't need Horcruxes. The Geek Patrol is back.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's a good thing, Max. What is he going to, at least he's going to outlive us. I don't really care. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbraith and Allie Diggs and our pal Max over there behind the glass, and our special guest, visiting correspondent Jeremy Veldman, who is the president of the Memphis Astronomical Society. And if you don't know about the Memphis Astronomical Society, or if you've never been to any of their meetings or any of their events, it's worth getting involved in. Jeremy, you guys do a great job, and I'll tell you, man, you do not skimp on your presentations. These are well thought out. They're interesting. You always learn something, and you serve great food.
I appreciate that. I try to go all out. We got to get the blueberry muffins back. Maybe Joe will come back out if we get those blueberry muffins back.
Yeah. So we're discussing the upcoming eclipse, which is going to be happening tomorrow. But Brandon, we have a little news that I didn't research this. You guys just watched the trailer for Hundreds of Beavers, and that's literally the name of the movie, you guys.
Yeah, seriously.
And we're all excited about it. But what's the?
So the movie will debut on streaming like Prime Video and Apple TV and whatnot on April 15th. So after you get your taxes taken care of, you'll need to wind down. So check it out.
You said the Horror News Network.
The Horror News Network, is the one who they were the ones dropping all the information, which means. Come on, let's just be honest. Any movie that comes out on tax day is considered a horror movie.
Right. Okay. All right. Whatever. But it looks cool, and the artwork. It's winning acclaim. It's winning awards, and it looks as hokey as could be. But maybe that's what we need today. We don't need any more $300 million flop busters, you could say. So, but hey, also Brandon.
Yeah.
For those, let's take care of a little business before we throw it to Jeremy. BeyondCon is right around the corner.
Absolutely, and Do you want me to drop a trivia question so we can give away some tickets?
Sure.
Okay, guys. I am looking for a post-Flashpoint answer here. Deep within the Batcave, and it's only shown in certain issues of the comics, there is a letter that is encased in a small glass, display case. Who wrote this letter to Batman?
Oh, can I win that? No, I guess I can't.
You got tickets anyway.
If you wanna enter, so Beyond Con is the first year event brought to you by the Batcave Treasures and Collectibles, which is over there in Bartlett, right? So
right. Run by
fun store.
Run by Rodney Shiflett and his wife Diana. They are awesome, just like great people across the board. And no, they're not paying me to say this. I genuinely believe this. But it's great to partner with them so that we can give away tickets to BeyondCon. We're big proponents of boosting up the conventions in the area. We love working together. Being the guys who do the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. We're all about making sure that geekdom grows in Memphis, and Rodney has done a tremendous job in helping do that. So it's just a great group of people to be involved with.
Absolutely. So Beyond Con, May 4th. It's a one-day event. It's very modest as far as pricing. It's a very affordable event, and also, but it's he's into Batman, so that's why
he's into
it's Batman
the
Beyond.
Cubs, Kiss.
Right.
Rodney will basically talk to you about anything you're interested in. If it's one thing that he likes, he'll really get into it.
Do we have the location? Because I forgot to give that out. So
I do have the location. If you'll just give me 2 seconds. You might want to give them the text line, though.
Okay. I'm sorry. Forgot. If you want to enter, if you want to try to win those tickets, text directly at 901-921-7105, 901-921-7105. So. And
BeyondCon is taking place on Saturday, May 4th. It begins at 9 a.m. and goes to 5 p.m.
Okay.
At 1879 North Germantown Parkway, Cordova, Tennessee, 38016. And we'd love to see y'all there.
Yeah, we'll be there for sure. So, okay. All right. Business is taken care of. Now, Jeremy, we have an eclipse coming up. So,
believe it or not, April 8th, 2 days away. Hard to believe.
Yeah. Jeremy, okay, obviously we have to make sure there's no clouds.
Yeah.
What's the prognosis? Okay, now here in Memphis, we're getting 90-something%, but that's not the same as some people may say, well, what's the big difference? Can you tell us why there's
right? We got
such a difference?
97.6% partial here in Memphis. That sounds really good, but keep in mind the sun is 1,000,000 times brighter in daylight hours than it is during totality. So even in Memphis, you're seeing a sun that's 26,000 times brighter than it would be if you go just a little bit further west of Jonesboro. Totally different experience. The way it's described to me is the difference between a partial and a total on a scale of 1 to 10 is the difference between a 3 if you're seeing a partial eclipse versus a 10 million if you're seeing a total.
Yeah,
so it really is an all or nothing deal.
What kind of stuff starts happening as I've never seen a full eclipse. We've had partials out here. I'm going to drive if you're here in the Mid-South, you only have to drive about an hour into Arkansas and you'll
right.
I'm doing it for sure.
But I would go ahead and recommend that you plan that day accordingly and start your drive early because there's going to be a lot of folks on the road.
Oh, they're expecting 1 million visitors to Arkansas alone. But I mean, I am, Brandon. I'm leaving early. But what sort of things do we start seeing when we're talking about full totality like that?
Right. Well, the deep partial is interesting too because the light changes, the shadows change. You see crescents on the ground if you're doing pinhole projection. So let's not discount that. But when you get to totality, totally different experience. When you get to just a few seconds before the eclipse actually happens, you see the diamond ring. You got to have your glasses on. Remember, I say look at the partial phases. Always have your solar eclipse glasses on to protect your eyes. Bailey's beads just seconds before totality, and then you see that rapid transition where the moon covers up the sun. It goes from day to night instantly, and then the corona bursts out, and that's the most magnificent spectacle. Just
What's
see
the
that solar corona. It's the hot, tenuous outer atmosphere of the sun. You only see pictures of it. We don't see it. We never see it except during an eclipse because the sun is too bright. But when the moon is covering up the photosphere of the sun, you can see the corona, and it's not a static thing. You're seeing charged particles streaming along the magnetic field lines of the sun. It's really fascinating to see.
Actually, you made me think of something too. I'm going to bring. There's a lot. I mean, eclipses have been responsible for a lot of scientific discovery. It's a big deal. It's life changing. People travel from around the world to see full eclipses. So it's a big deal, folks, and it's right by us. So it's worth the trouble, I think, to go see the full eclipse. So we've got more to unpack about the eclipse coming up when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Oh, no! Oh, yes. No, we're back. There's no avoiding it. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and Allie Diggs. And maybe I'm talking too fast. Allie Diggs. Do you like to go by Allie or Alissa?
I do prefer Alissa, but I was never going to correct you, so it's fine.
I'm going to start calling you Alissa. I just never thought of it. Alissa Diggs, because that's a cool...
Well, she's all grown up now.
Yeah, I'm a big girl now.
Allie was when you were a little snot-nosed teenager helping us with the
I was just a
Memphis
baby.
comic. Okay, Alissa. Sorry, Alissa. And our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And our special guest correspondent, Jeremy Veldman, president of the Memphis Astronomical Society. Because in case you've been living under a rock, tomorrow here in the United States is a really good chunk of the United States is going to experience the full eclipse. We're getting it here in the Mid-South around, let's see, Jeremy, you said 12:37 to 1:40 or 1:55. That's a pretty long.
Yeah, first contact's at 12:37 if you're in the Mid-South.
Okay, now we've been advocating trying to get out of town and go see the full eclipse, and because it's a totally different experience. Allie did make me think of something, though. I mean, people have to work. They can't necessarily miss work. So how do people still, I'm sure that bosses wouldn't object to taking a few minutes and stepping outside to see that. So what is a good way to still experience the partial eclipse, I suppose? What are some, I remember as a kid, you poke a hole in some paper or something.
Right.
What is that called?
Pinhole projection. If you're not going to leave, I would say take your lunch break a little later in the day, like around 1:55.
Okay.
Maximum partial in Memphis is at 1:57. You'll see a very thin sliver of sun. And again, when I say see, never look at it directly without the eclipse glasses, or without, we can do pinhole projection. Take a piece of cardboard or marker board, just poke a hole in it, and then use that to project the sunlight through that onto the ground. You can also take a colander that most of us have in our kitchen for straining spaghetti, and then just basically line it up with the sun, and you'll see little crescents on the ground. It's pretty cool.
Wait, what?
That's so cute.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Wait, what? You're saying it'll make a bunch of little
crescent. If you go to any eclipse party, you'll see a colander.
Eclipse, baby. It's disco.
That's so cool.
So if you got a colander in your kitchen, take that to where you're going on Eclipse Day.
Because I think all kids should learn about, I mean, this is such a great, it's one thing to read about science, but it's another to just actually experience it.
Right. And the light will get eerie. It'll get dimmed and muted. The edges of the shadows will become sharper and crisper if you're standing parallel to the sun's crescent. You'll notice a temperature drop. And look for the Purkinje effect also. I'm not sure how far into the partial you need to be, but if you're wearing brighter colors on Eclipse Day, reds and greens, they may look muted and mushy and bland because your eye processes light different in low light conditions as opposed to daylight hours.
The Purkinje effect.
Purkinje effect.
That's what that means. Because I've heard if you have a blue shirt, it'll turn red, right?
I don't know
or
if it'll
something
turn
like
red,
that.
but it'll just be kind of a bland color. And when you get very close to totality, if you're in the deep partial phase of the eclipse. So I'm curious to see that effect.
We're all going to look goth. Yeah.
I'm going to take all my clothes outside. That is so exciting.
Yeah, that sounds cool. So, and that'll happen in a partial as well?
I don't know if we'll experience it here, but we're pretty close at 97.6%. So that's pretty good.
Okay, I want you to clear up something else because now, okay, folks, you can get these glasses just about anywhere. They're selling them at the gas station by my house.
I'll give them away for free if you guys want some.
They're cheap. I mean, you're going to get some. What about welding goggles?
No.
Okay, why
Don't
not?
even go
And
there.
you're adamant about that. What's the? Because those things are so shaded. It seems like that would work, but why don't those work?
Okay. It may not be absolute, but in my opinion, your eyes are precious. Don't skimp on this. Use your ISO certified solar eclipse glasses to protect your eyes. I got plenty of them. I'll leave you guys with a bunch of them. American Paper Optics makes these and sells these. 75 million pair are going to go around the country for these. So for a couple of, even if you had to pay a couple of bucks to get these glasses, don't take a chance on your eyes.
Well, it's all a matter of wavelength. So
Wavelength, eh?
We're talking about, like, when you're using welder's gloves and you've got your goggles and everything, you are worried about that brighter than the sun, hotter than the sun spark that you're making. It is not producing the UVC spectrum of the sun. And when we talk about, like, the Remy Halo system on occasion, people have these in their homes, you don't ever look at that light bulb. That is a UVC generating light that basically destroys organic material. So you want to make sure that you have something appropriately lined up to the wavelengths of the sun that are going to be produced during the eclipse, not just necessarily a bright light.
Okay.
So don't put on a couple of pairs of sunglasses. Don't break out your welder. I've seen
I've seen all that. People had two or three pairs of sunglasses.
Oh
on
yeah,
top
I
of
got
each
3
other.
pairs of sunglasses.
Yeah.
They're not polarized for this type of event.
Right. Okay. So
That's an adequate, that's a very good explanation. Yes, absolutely.
So there's other things getting through the lens that you don't see it, but it's like, even if you could look at with the welder's goggles, it's damaging your eyes, basically, is what
Potentially.
you're saying.
Could be.
Okay, so Jeremy, this is unusual. It's starting where in South America. It's coming up pretty. I mean, it's covering a lot of the United States.
Starts in the Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
Hits the southwest coast of Mexico. Interestingly enough, the eclipse path is halfway over by the time it touches land. So half of this eclipse is over water.
Oh.
Crosses over Mexico, then enters the United States in southwest Texas, crosses through Texas, crosses through Arkansas, clips Oklahoma, then southeast Oklahoma. And then, of course, it goes through southern Missouri, southern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, over the Great Lakes, upstate New York, New England, and then out to Newfoundland, and then back out to sea. Shadow's traveling about 1,800 miles an hour when it makes landfall.
Really? That's how fast. That would be interesting to watch. So, are there satellites or anything clocking this thing and
yes, there are
filming it and
satellites
everything?
from space. They see the daylight side of the Earth, and you can see the fuzzy dark spot. That's the moon's umbral shadow crossing the disk of the Earth. It's fascinating to watch it from space.
Well, one thing too, with all of our recording technology, there's so much cool stuff you can watch after the fact, and great photos and great
There'll be a
video.
lot of pictures from this eclipse.
All right, so we're going to have a little more to say about that when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Please, you give me too little credit.
Yeah, that's always Allan's problem, I think, too. So, but, we keep it humble around here. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass, and our special visiting correspondent Jeremy Veldman, president of the Memphis Astronomical Society. Who, Jeremy, we got to get you on the show a little more regularly. We used to have you chime in fairly regularly because the Memphis Astronomical Society is very active. You guys do a lot of great work in the community, and it's really, it's a free way to educate yourself about astronomy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and if you're a flat earther, we strongly encourage you to come into the meetings and learn why you're wrong. I don't know. I like throwing things at Jeremy about this.
Don't
You
put
would
that
not
on
want to
him.
face Allan. I'm just going to tell you right now.
I don't know. That's just stuff. But hey, Jeremy. So obviously we're talking about the upcoming eclipse tomorrow. The people, if you have the opportunity, we strongly advocate trying to get out of town. You only have to drive about an hour or so into Arkansas if you're here in the Mid-South, and you'll have a shot at it, right? Starting in like Jonesboro and...
Right. The most direct path, or the most direct trip from Memphis to the path is to Jonesboro, Arkansas. It's about an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay. But you said something that's... Because okay, tell people where you're going, because you're skedaddling as soon as you get out of here, right?
Right. So it's kind of breaking news. I'm going to Maine. So I'm packing up as soon as I get out of
Maine.
here, hitting the flight tomorrow. Yeah, the perfect spot for a solar eclipse in April after a nor'easter and an earthquake. Let's go to Maine. How about it?
Because that's what makes no sense. So you're saying this thing's going to start in South America, down in Mexico, arid desert climate seems perfect for it. Seems like that, and then through Texas, which is another desert climate, and yet you're going north.
Totally counterintuitive. This was certainly not part of the plan. It's not plan A, plan B. This is more like plan Q. Last minute decision. But if you look at what's happening weather-wise, they've got this nor'easter up there right now. It's going to clear out Sunday night, and typically a storm like this is followed by high pressure.
Okay.
So I've been watching this very closely for the last several days, and they're saying that the best weather prospects are in Maine to see this eclipse.
Isn't that something?
I was going to ask, I know that you said earlier that before it was the opposite and now it's this way. Do you still feel like it's a little bit of a gamble? Like you could get off that flight and then find out that the weather's going to be terrible? Are you scared?
I am scared. No, there's no such thing as 100%. We're still obviously watching this. There's a possibility it could go up there and be clouded out and people here could see it. And actually the weather prospects here are improving a little bit. So it's kind of a choice between 35% cloud cover probability here versus 7% up there. Could that change? Yes.
Okay. Are you more afraid of the weather changing or getting surrounded by the tinfoil hat people who seem to be out in way more droves this time around than they were during the last eclipse?
Absolutely the weather, but the tinfoil people are getting intriguing too. It seems like anytime there's an event like this, there's always the prognosis or the predictions of the end of the world.
I mean, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing what they're saying. It's a little scary out there.
Yeah. Right.
Brandon, I just want you to know, I only have one shipment of plants coming in on Monday.
Hey,
that's all. I'm just letting you know. Just one. That's okay. Andromeda.com said they would deliver right on time.
Just know that means I'm not coming to do a Cooking Today segment with you until well after they've matured.
Right. And if you're just tuning in, Jeremy did have a good warning, and Allan too, about don't skimp. Get the $2 the $2 approved Eclipse glasses. Yep. Don't try to use a welding mask or 4 pairs of sunglasses or anything. You're going to damage your eyes. So, but Jeremy, I had a couple of questions here. So, if you could pick your ideal eclipse spot to watch, like I'm picturing, imagine seeing an eclipse like the Grand Canyon or something. But what kind of environment creates the most interesting results? I would say.
Right, farmland where it's flat, and then maybe mountains on the horizon. So there are some spots like this in Arkansas that are pretty interesting. I'm not going there because the weather's not looking good. But near the center line in Russellville and Morrilton, there's some interesting flat spots. You want as much horizon as you can get, because then you not only get the eclipsed sun, but you get the shadow bands, possibly an eclipse wind coming down from the valley, and then the 360-degree sunset during totality is just magnificent.
That's what's interesting to me. So you have the golden glow of the sun, of a sunset, and all the stars popping out at one. And that was my question too. Was is from our perception, is the moon? Can you see any of the craters on the moon, or is it just strictly a black dot, basically?
It's a black disc when you look at it with your eye, but if you're an astrophotographer and you do bracketing during totality, you can get some exposures that are long enough to actually capture details on the moon from Earthshine. So during totality, the sun is shining on the Earth, light's bouncing back on the disk of the moon. Your eye won't catch that, but we do have astrophotographers who have captured details on the surface of the moon during totality.
Okay, so that wasn't Photoshop, because the last eclipse, I saw that, I'm like, that looks fake. That doesn't look, but
yeah,
it was
it's
real.
Getting hard to distinguish between reality and fabrication these days, but it's real.
Okay, one last question. So people who are dead serious about this, they're not taking any risks. They're getting up into airplanes. They're taking special flights. They're going to get above the clouds. What would you see if you're in that situation, if you're up in the sky?
Yeah, speaking of clouds, that's the best way to get away from them, right?
Right, just go above them.
There's actually a plane that's doing that, and they're doing research to study the corona. There's still a lot about the sun that we don't know, and the plane is flying along the path of totality during the eclipse. Now, it'll be similar to what you would see on the ground. Basically you're seeing the same effects, the eclipsed sun and the dark sky. you just get longer duration because you're traveling in a plane about 500 miles per hour along the eclipse path. The shadow's moving much faster, 1,800 miles per hour, but you can delay the exit from totality by a couple of minutes if you're flying along the eclipse path.
I don't know, man. It's cool.
That's what Allan's going to do.
Yeah, Allan's getting his special helicopter. It'd be nice.
Allan will be on a broom.
Yeah, but we're all looking
Better than
forward
the wax
to it.
wings he did last time.
Exactly. We hope everybody's going to get out there and enjoy the eclipse. Let's pray for good weather. And Jeremy, good luck with your trip to Maine. We'll circle back with you when you get back, man.
Appreciate it. Wish me luck, guys.
All right, well, guys, it's time to get out of here. The show's over. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Allan Gilbreth.
Jeremy Veldman.
I'm Alissa Diggs.
And on behalf of our friend Maximilian behind the glass, I am Brandon Olmsted saying let's get out of here and go get mooned.